Pleasure to call Neale Hanvey to make his maiden speech.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker, for the opportunity to make this my first speech during this important debate, and I would like to pay tribute to the honourable member from Ashfield for quite a lot of good lines there. I don't think I'm going to match your humour, son, sadly. I'd also like to pay tribute to the honourable gentleman from Darlington too for making his maiden speech tonight. Being elected here to represent the communities I grew up in is an extraordinary and humbling honour. To do so today in the presence of my partner Lino and our children makes it especially memorable.
Hear, hear.
The honour of representing my constituency carries with it a significant responsibility to be their voice, their advocate on matters both here and at home, and to endeavour to serve the best interests of every constituent. As a new Scot and a pragmatist, I am a product of this union. Born in Northern Ireland, raised in the east of Scotland, and I forged my professional career for the most part here in the heart of London. My apologies to honourable and right honourable members from Wales, as I've only landed in Cardiff Airport once for refuelling. And I'm not sure that counts, but hopefully I'll remedy this as soon as possible. Madam Deputy Speaker, if by the Prime Minister's repeated assertions that this is the most successful political union in the world, why have I and so many others never felt that to be true? Could this be an example of the iniquity that my predecessor Leslie Laird rightly focused on in her maiden speech, as she began her service to the constituency in May 2017 until December of last year? Indeed, she lamented how the arguments for economic equity and social justice has been a theme not just of hers, but also that of her predecessor, Roger Mullen, and on this matter they have no quarrel with me. From the coal mining communities of Benarty and Kelty through to its largest conurbation, the Langtoon of Kirkcaldy, the picturesque coastal towns and villages stretching from Dalgety Bay to Dysart, the constituency I serve is bursting with ambition. But that potential, damaged by the ravages of Thatcherism and restricted in many respects by the limitations placed upon them, and indeed Scotland as a whole, by politicians in this place who have not won an election in Scotland since 1955. All of these communities have a proud history of hard work, great intellect and a strong sense of community. This sense of community has somehow withstood the imposition of political and economic policies that neglect, ignore, dismiss and sometimes extinguish the hopes, aspirations and potential of so many. While some members of this Parliament may jeer at, dismiss and deny the potential of Scotland, I will not tire of giving voice to those aspirations and the hope of a better, independent future that works for all of Scotland.
Hear, hear, hear.
Madam Deputy Speaker, as the UK turns in on itself, wrapped in the false promises of a Brexit Scotland did not vote for, this government has shaken the magic money tree to give cash-strapped public services some of the funding they've been denied over 10 long years of neglect. This brings me to the subject of this debate and my reflections on it. Whilst I readily agree the proposed funding in this bill is preferable to ruinous austerity economics, we must never forget they were initiated by those on the government benches opposite, aided by the Liberal Democrats and eased into being by the abstention of many members of the Labour opposition. If the English NHS is the patient, then this bill is a fig leaf, treating the symptoms and not the cause of the English NHS woes. The cause is, of course, pernicious and has proved deadly for many. Tory economic and social policy. But surely the government must know this. Why else would they refuse to publish their own impact assessment on universal credit and the two-child cap? What are they afraid of, Madam Deputy Speaker? The truth? In Scotland, many of us on these benches have been working on a remedy for some time now. But this government is withholding consent and at the same time ignores the refusal of consent to this damaging folly from the devolved Parliament. We must take our Brexit medicine regardless. In 2014, the people of Scotland voted for a status quo that no longer exists.
Hear, hear, hear.
They were promised equal status, respect and greater autonomy. That vow lies shattered, as does Scotland's trust in this place.
Hear, hear.
If Scotland is not equal, if it is not respected and it is not listened to, are we to assume we are hostages in our nation?
Yeah.
Forever prone to the wiles of our larger neighbour?
Yep. Yeah.
Well, let me say this. That is neither right nor indeed honourable.
Hear,
The health of a
hear,
nation
hear.
cannot be improved using honorific titles in this place. It requires right and right honourable deeds, not words. If this is the most successful union in the history of the world, then why is it that we need to measure deprivation, poverty and homelessness? Madam Deputy Speaker, whether I support this evil policy or not, I am denied a vote, despite the consequences for Scotland. In closing, I will, like my predecessors, turn to the words of one Adam Smith Kirkcaldy, in the hope that this will be the final time they need to be said in this place. No society can surely be flourishing and happy, of which the far greater part of the members are poor and miserable. Publish the impact assessments. Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker.
Yeah.